Calaroga Shark Media.
Very busy one today. I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians, and the comedy industry, a sentence the algorithm loves. I'm excited. Robert Smigel has launched a podcast in which he and his comedian friends try to zhuzh up the hilarity of everything from a eulogy to a Tinder profile. Now, who are Robert Smigel's celebrity friends? No Conan listed yet, but he does have David Letterman, Bob Odenkirk, Ellie Kemper, and Jim Gaffigan. As you may know, Robert Smigel, best known for his TV Funhouse segments on SNL. I would say he's best known for Triumph, maybe not. Anyway, he is the host of Humor Me with Robert Smigel and Friends, a weekly podcast. It premieres May 8th, so that's later this week. I know the trailer's already out because I've subscribed to it. On Humor Me with Robert Smigel and Friends, Smigel and a rotating panel of his friends assist people seeking help in making something in their real life funnier. Smigel told Variety, "We've had several rabbis wanting help with sermons. There was a woman who wanted to break up with her mom group in a diplomatic way that was still funny." He told Variety the original idea was to do like a writer's room of sorts. He said, "The only germ I had was how much fun I have in writer's rooms, because almost the fun part in being in comedy is just generating ideas, then you actually have to execute them, and that's where the pain comes in." There is a trailer. I'll run some of it. I wish the trailer were a little better, being honest.
Hello, I'm Robert Smigel. I did lots of things. Cartoons on SNL, Conan stuff, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, some movies. But now I'm past my peak. So I'm hosting a podcast, Humor Me with Robert Smigel and Friends. Each week, me and my favorite comedians, writers, and whatnots help regular people just like you, presuming you're regular, who have some project or task that they'd like us to help make funnier. You'll see guests like Bob Odenkirk, Jim Gaffigan, Dave Attell, Mikey Day, Ellie Kemper, Pete Holmes, Alex Edelman, Bruce McCullough, David Letterman, and many great writers dedicated to helping the less humorous.
Netflix has announced the date for Season 2 of Tom Segura's Bad Thoughts, and it's pretty soon. May 24th, we'll get 6 episodes. As you may recall, the series follows Tom Segura as he navigates unthinkable situations and fantasies within a cinematic world. Tom Segura said, "It was such a thrill to get the opportunity to entertain and horrify audiences with our very bad thoughts on Netflix. We're also excited to push things further." Speaking of Netflix, Robbie, Praw, and Tracy Podesca, they are behind the Netflix is a Joke Comedy Festival, and they got the fancy schmancy industry interview in Variety. They asked Robbie, "What do you think is the wackiest or most ambitious idea you'll pull off this year?" Robbie Praw said, "I'm excited to see the celebration of Pee Wee Herman. As a Seinfeld dork, I'm excited to see Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld. That was last night. The roast speaks for itself. As for the wackiest things, I'm personally running a 5K for the first time." I assume that's the Tom Segura Bert Kreischer 5K, but you never know. Here's an interesting one. Netflix has invested quite a bit in the podcast space. How's that going? Praw said, "We can't speak to the whole strategy. The podcast that our group has been working on is the Pete Davidson Show, and we're really happy with how that's going. He's doing 2 shows that are going to sell out, one with Nikki Glazer, one with John Mulaney." He was asked, "Is John Mulaney going to do another season of Everybody's Live? What did Johnny Mac tell you?" Well, Robbie Praw admitted it. "No, we don't think so. No. John is on a big tour. There's no talk of him doing that right now. Told you so." Any interest in Stephen Colbert? Tracy Pacosta said, "We haven't talked to Stephen. We talk about how much we love him. We're big fans of Stephen Colbert and his show, but nothing specific." All right. What about the roast of Kevin Hart? Robbie Praw said, "It's going to be a real night of surprises. You have Shane Gillis hosting and Kevin Hart as the roastee, 2 of the biggest comedy superstars of all time. Might be a little early to put Shane Gillis on the list of biggest comedy superstars of all time. I think we need a little more work there. You know, if he were a baseball player, he's in like season 4. Like, relax a little with that. He's great, but relax. You know what I'm saying? Don Mattingly didn't make the Hall of Fame. Keith Hernandez, not in the Hall of Fame." Robbie Praw says, "There has never been a comedian at Kevin's level that has been in that hot seat. He's going to be ruthless at the end of this roast, and I'm excited to see it." Now, I'm going to fact check that. My gut is telling me, I'm doing this live, my gut tells me that is not true. Let's see, celebrity roasts of comedians, because you got the Dean Martin ones. All right, let's start with the Comedy Central roasts. Drew Carey, Jerry Stiller, Rob Reiner, Hugh Hefner, Chevy Chase, Dennis Leary, Foxworthy, Pamela Anderson, William Shatner, Flavor Flav, Saget, Cable Guy, Joan Rivers, David Hasselhoff, Trump, Charlie Sheen, Roseanne Barr, James Franco, Justin Bieber, Rob Lowe, Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin. You could argue Kevin Hart is bigger than all of those guys. There was a TV show called The Dean Martin Celebrity Roast. Governor Reagan, Hugh Hefner, Ed McMahon, William Conrad, Kirk Douglas, Betty Davis, Barry Goldwater, Johnny Carson, You want to put Johnny Carson up against Kevin Hart in a battle? It's at least a discussion, right? The roasters on that were Jack Benny, Joey Bishop, Foster Brooks, George Burns, Ruth Buzzy, Truman Capote, Dom DeLuise, Red Fox, Rich Little, Bob Newhart. For 1973, I don't know, man. Head-to-head, that lineup in 1973 with Johnny Carson versus whatever they're going to throw up Sunday night, it's at least a discussion. Wilt Chamberlain, Hubert Humphrey, Carol O'Connor, Monty Hall, Klugman and Randall, Zsa Zsa, Leo DeRocher, Truman Capote, Don Rickles, could be, Ralph Nader, Jack Benny, Red Fox, Bobby Riggs, George Washington is portrayed by Jan Layton, that's different, Rowan and Martin, Hank Aaron, Joe Namath, Bob Hope. Okay, please understand, Bob Hope is on the Mount Rushmore of comedy, like an 8-decade career. I know a lot of people judge him by the work he did after turning 80, but watch the young Bob Hope. He is solid on that. Neil Armstrong, who's the first man on the moon. Johnny Bench, Jack Benny, Milton Berle, Foster Brooks, Howard Cosell, Phyllis Diller, Zsa Zsa, Rich Little, Ronald Reagan, then a governor at that point in 74, I would assume, Don Rickles, and others. Telly Savalas, Lucille Ball. You want to go head-to-head against Kevin Hart, Lucy? Jackie Gleason, Sammy Davis Jr., Michael Landon, Evel Knievel, Valerie Harper, Muhammad Ali, not a comedian, Dean Martin, Dennis Weaver, Joe Garagiola, Red Fox, Danny Thomas, Angie Dickinson, Gabe Kaplan, Ted Knight, Peter Marshall, Dan Haggerty, Sinatra, not a comedian, Klugman, Betty White, Jimmy Stewart, George Burns, Suzanne Summers, Joe Namath, Joan Collins, Mr. T in 1984, and the last one on December 7th, 1984, Michael Landon. I have quite digressed. The premise was Robbie Praw saying there has never been a comedian at Kevin's level that has been in that hot seat. I propose to you, Johnny Carson. We have digressed. They asked Robbie Praw about Louis C.K. Remember, Louis was canceled at one point, but now everybody loves Louis. Come out to the Hollywood Bowl. Come see him. Praw said, when it comes to Louis, part of the job of my team is we listen to the type of stand-ups people want to see, but we also spend a lot of time looking at who's selling tickets around the world. Louis has had a really impressive run for the last 2 years, and it's a great special right now, so we're excited to see it on Netflix this summer. Variety did follow up. You must have anticipated Backlash, given his 2017 sexual misconduct scandal. How much does that factor in? Praw said, when our members sit up and open up Netflix, they have a decision to make of what they want to watch. Oh, that's not a good answer. This is about giving them an option to see a really popular comedian that they may want to watch who's still putting out great stuff. Sure, that opens the door to, and I'm not going to go there, put up anything. I'll let you use your imagination as to what anything is. You don't have to watch it. Like if there's the hate speech show, you don't have to watch it. That's not a good answer. I'm surprised the PR people let that make it into Variety. That is not a good answer. Oh, here's a fun one. They asked, what do you make of Hulu's push into comedy? Now, if you listen to this show, and I've got some stuff I slept for tomorrow's episode, I don't think Hulu's nailing this at all. Variety's phrasing, what do you make of Hulu's push into comedy? They've been able to secure big names for specials, some of which I'd imagine you also fought for. Do you view Hulu as a threat? That's hilarious. Pacosta said, I don't know about that part, but look, competition is always good because it's good for the comedy community. It means people are working, getting exposure, and getting to tell their stories. See, that's a good answer. I don't know if it's working or not for them. I know we continue to be in the business with a lot of the people that were on Netflix that have gone to do specials at Hulu because we offer an extension of the stand-up brand for these comedians. We're able to work simultaneously with them, whether that be on the scripted side, on the feature side, or what have you. Let me save some more of this for tomorrow as we are already getting long because John read you a list of everybody who's ever been roasted. Speaking of Louis C.K., he was on Jim Norton's podcast. C.K. was talking about visiting India as part of his tour, which is called Ridiculous. In a freewheeling chat with Jim Norton, Louis C.K. opened up about what he saw in India, comparing it to how he sees poverty, specifically in New York City. Let's let Louis C.K. tell you. Here's a clip.
Feeling in India is like and I am ignorant, so I just saw what I saw. Nobody's on the street looking like shit.
Right.
Nobody's on drugs, and nobody's living homeless. Do you know what I mean? Like the way in the streets here in New York,
yeah.
I see guys with a little bubble syringe, like the really like street syringe. Yeah. I see guys shooting up broad daylight all the time now. And then you see guys, you know, that bent over at the waist.
Like they're looking for something.
Yeah, this thing. I didn't see a single person like that in any of the places we went to in India. From the hotel, we could see this area that was like corrugated steel cubes with tarps over them, but like a whole city block. So there's a functioning poverty there. And there's many levels of housing that are way cheaper. Whereas here we have like a standard, but if you fall below it, if you can't afford a home in New York City, you're on the street and you freeze to death, and nobody looks at you, and there's no job for you. Like you can't get a job if you don't have a credit rating in this country. You can't, if you don't have like a credit card and a real like identity, you can't just like hustle and see what you can get done. If you do, you probably live on the street. You probably live under a tarp somewhere in a really, and not in a group, I mean, obviously there are people who build shanty towns and tent cities here.
10 cities.
But the cops come and dismantle them all the time.
Once I call them, they do.
Alex Jones is not happy with this Tim Heidecker stuff. By the way, Tim Heidecker, Infowars people, tap the brakes. I'm kind of sick of it now. It was a lot of fun for a couple days, but it's too much now. Alex Jones weighed in. He captioned the post, appointed Onion News director and avowed Satanist Tim Heidecker melts down over the court ruling blocking the transfer of Infowars to the Onion. I am not familiar with Tim Heidecker's choice of worship at all. I don't recall seeing anything where he was an avowed Satanist. I guess I could ask the internet. Is Tim Heidecker a Satanist? Well, here is a video from YouTube 1 week ago titled, Tim Heidecker admits he loves Satan. I guess we should listen.
I am going to make a big announcement right now, and that might affect our relationship. And I am pledging myself to Satan and to the Prince of Darkness. And,
I read about this last night on a website. I read about it on Infowars.com.
Yeah, it's been out there, and now I'm here to confirm that I am a soldier for him. I am a soldier for the Prince of Darkness, and I hail him in a lot of ways and respect the hell out of the devil.
Okay, there you have it. The words of Tim Heidecker. So I guess what Alex Jones said in that case is accurate. A judge has scheduled another hearing for May 28th, so we'll keep an eye on that. Boy, I told you there was a lot going on. I even bumped like 4 things, which I love to do. It makes the whole week go so much easier when I have too much to talk about. I was actually strategizing with our publicist earlier in the day, and I told her, save some stuff for a week of Memorial Day, because that's when it gets a little quiet. Going to see if we get some press for this little podcast here. Radar Online reported there was an effort behind King Charles' hilarious jokes. A source said there was a conscious effort to sharpen the tone of Charles' words and to make sure the jokes traveled across cultures. It was less about improvisation and more about precision writing, similar to how late-night shows workshop their material. Another source said the King has natural wit, but this was refined. Lines were tested, adjusted, and structured to ensure they resonated in a highly structured environment without causing offense. It created the impression of effortless charm. Behind the scenes, it was highly curated. Every beat was deliberate. The Netflix is a Joke Comedy Festival continues in Los Angeles. The LA Times is excited about Seinfeld, who's at the Greek Theater at 8 o'clock tonight. They describe Jerry Seinfeld as the king of the comedic rant. Jerry is joined by Tennessee funny woman Leanne Morgan. They're also excited about the Comedy Swap, 7 o'clock at the Nest at the Crow. Created and hosted by Brooklyn Jones, the Comedy Swap mixes fantastic stand-up comics with a cool twist on a clothing exchange. Bring old clothes, shoes, and accessories to donate. During the Incredible Comedy Show, a pop-up shop will be created for you to take an item with you when you leave for free. That's fun. Anything left over goes to local charities. I like it. Let's check the schedule. We'll click the Tuesday, May 5th button. 7:30 at the Hollywood Bowl. Louis C.K. Not So Canceled. At 7:30 at the Intuit Dome, Cat Williams. Those are 2 big shiny shows. The Greek Theater, Seinfeld at 8. 3 shiny shows. So just to be fair to Netflix, Jim Gaffigan at the Dolby Theater at 7. 4th biggest comedian I've named so far. Maybe the 3rd. Maybe you think Gaffigan's bigger than Cat, and I'm not sure he is. Alana Glazer and Rami Youssef are at the Orpheum at 7. Jeselnik at the Sabin at 7. Theo Vaughn at the Wiltern at 7:30. Tom Pop is out there at the Wilshire. He's at 7. 7 o'clock, the Montalban Theater. David Letterman with special guest John Mulaney. So just there, right? And I just stayed home. If you even go out to L.A., of the 6-7 shows I already mentioned, which do you even go see? I guess I'd go see Letterman. So you're blowing off Seinfeld and CK, however you feel about him, and Cat and Gaffigan. I mean, this is just huge. 9:45, Hanging with Dr. Z. That is the, I assume, legally distinct Planet of the Apes parody. Friend of the show, Gianmarco Cerezi at 7 o'clock at the Belasco. That is the only thing that I've seen with the words sold and out on it as I look at this. Steph Tolev's at the Troubadour at 9:30. And they just added at 6:30 at the Laugh Factory, the Best of Chicago, hosted by Jeremy Piven. That's different. Oh, wow. The Tuesdays with Stories guys, they're sold out at the Hollywood Improv at 7:30. Cameron Esposito's in town. I mean, this is what a huge, and it's Tuesday. Now, if you're not in Los Angeles, if you're at home like me, you can go on YouTube at 8 o'clock Eastern and watch Eugene Merman's Here Comes the Whimsy. If you want to own it on vinyl, you got to wait till Saturday, May 30th. But you can watch the special now. You can get a digital download on PGF Records now. It's Eugene Merman's first special in 10 years. Is that true? Because maybe it is true, because the last one had like 8 trillion cuts. Maybe that was just an album. Here Comes the Whimsy was recorded live in Somerville, Massachusetts, and features Eugene Merman's trademark playful spirit as he shares anecdotes on fatherhood, travel insights, rental car disputes, and more. You can also participate in a live chat with Eugene during the YouTube premiere tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 West. You can also see him at Largo on the 12th in Los Angeles. And that is your comedy news for today. I told you it was busy. Tomorrow's going to be busy too, and I'll meet you back here then.